When I see a black man and one man, I think of strength, black empowerment we have within, building community development. Let's continue to build our own. Let's continue to stay strong. Motivation, no matter the hate, no stopping. You just go. Listen up to Quan, John, and Queen P for giving us a voice. Speak up for what's yours and yell and make that noise. We are kings and we are queens. Melanated royalty, just getting started. Loving self, self and knowledge. Stack that wealth. Motivational motors, y'all.
Have you ever personally, specifically, endured any type of racism or oppression, specifically to you? Can you remember, whether it be in school, whether it be at a job, whether it be just walking down the street, anything that you can remember, if you care to disclose that?
Not in the way that, I guess I've been lucky where it hasn't happened to me in that way.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. All right. I asked that because someone asked that of me. And I had to really think about it. And I have.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of us probably has. And we just are so numb to it that we don't realize it. That it probably did happen to you specifically, but you probably were so numb to the status quo of the world that you just brushed it off and kept walking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It might have been some occurrences in college, and I don't think about it, but you kind of overt racism, someone hanging something up, or but you going into a class, you're not on the list. Are you sure you're in the right place? And
what?
I think so.
So where did you study journalism? Where did you go to school?
I went to the University of Missouri. I actually started at Mizzou and finished it here in St. Louis.
University of Missouri. Very great college basketball team. Wow.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
I'm really excited to be interviewing another podcaster because I have a question for you.
Okay.
Because, we have interviewed another podcaster before, but I have this one for you because of what you talk about. What was your most moving episode? Like one of those episodes that just fire you up and kind of just get you right in the stomach.
This actually wasn't an interview one, but just what I talked about. There's a case out of Lavinia Johnson, and she actually is from St. Louis, like my neck of the woods. I actually went to school with her family. She's the first Black woman to be killed in Afghanistan. They ruled it a suicide when clearly, there's more to that story. Her family, her dad, had like a complete separate investigation. They tried to reopen it here recently. There's a petition out there on that petition site to try to reopen this case. He had a documentary done of his own dime, and there's so many other podcasts that cover true crime. A lot of white ones too actually covered this story, and because it's just so compelling and heartbreaking. But basically they tried to, she clearly was raped and like her teeth broken, her hands formed, just all these different things. Man. And they tried to say it was a suicide. So it's almost like, trying to convict a police officer is hard, but going against the military is almost a different animal. And they still don't have, justice. And he has a pretty good idea of who he thinks is responsible, but it's just really difficult and hard to go against the military in that manner.
How did it make you feel when you were recording that?
It just gives you the chills, and then to see, these interviews that her dad, his documentaries out there. And I think the whole thing is on YouTube actually. And it's just really interesting that what they went through, and that even after going through that, he was just so determined to put that story out there for others. And then you kind of see a similar story happen with that Hispanic young lady, Vanessa Gilliam. Really similar circumstances. And it's just not fair, and you want to do something. And so that really kind of compels me.
No, I really believe that podcasts like Motivational Motors and Woke by Accident, I don't know if it was intentional, but I think our podcast should be targeting the younger people, and when I say the younger people, the people that fall into the area, the range of 18 to 30. You know what I mean? Because I think, because we can all attest to, well, of course, you still are in that range, but you know, you're very mature beyond your years. I really feel that the 18 to 30-year-olds, they tend to be the most unwoke first people. All right?
But claim to be.
Understandably so, I think. I think because when you're 18 to 30, you're still kind of trying to find yourself, so to speak, and you haven't been through enough to even know what's out there. You know what I mean? So when an elder might tell you, hey, you know what, be careful of that because that might happen, you might not listen because it hasn't happened to you yet until it happens to you. You know what I mean? I remember my mother telling me a story of when she was, she used to live in the state of Virginia. It was very racist back in the day, which probably is still now, but not too overt. She was, I think she was walking, right? And she was walking past the building and this white guy spat on her head, like blatantly spit, right? And I, you know, so when she said, that's crazy. My mother's actually calling me now, so it has to be true, right? Okay, right. So he blatantly spat on her head, and when she told me this, I was young, 20 something, and I said, oh, okay, that's a pretty nasty thing to do to somebody, but I didn't know the racist connotation behind it. I didn't know the real overt, you know, thing, the travesty that this was. I had no idea of the significance of it. Now, fast forward a few years later, when I'm like maybe 28 or something like that, I go to Pennsylvania with my cousin. I have family members that live in Pennsylvania. That's also Commonwealth, very racist state. Probably not as overt right now. And we walk up the block to go into a bar when I used to drink. So we go to a bar to have a beer, and they blatantly did not serve us. Blatantly. This wasn't too long ago. This had to be like the year 2003. Yeah. And we stood there for 10 minutes. And I took my ID out and put my ID on the counter, and he looked at me as if I wasn't standing there in my face. And when I walked out, I actually kind of felt what my mother meant when she got spat on. I finally felt what it was to be blatantly discriminated against because I was Black specifically. And I said, damn, you know what I'm saying? So I say all that to say our type podcast, Motivation Motors and Woke by Accident, I think the younger generation it's for them. Well, I don't know if they're listening or not. I think they should be listening, man, because I don't mean to be long-winded, but I heard about an incident, not even an incident, a funny, peculiar, very, very insulting story that happened in California where we got this rapper, I forgot his name. And he is probably going to prison now because this guy, during the pandemic, swindled the federal government for over $1 million in unemployment funds. People are swindling the federal government in unemployment funds.
How?
Nuke Bizzle is an up-and-coming rapper from Memphis, Tennessee who resides in the Hollywood Hills and loves to flash his money on social media. If you were following him on Instagram or watched any of his videos on Facebook, you would think he was making a lot of money through his music or through other means. It turns out that he wanted to bypass the entire come-up process of being a musician and just get to being a millionaire right away. He must have thought he found a loophole in the California Employment Development Department, EDD, because he stole $1.2 million from the department by creating a scheme to fraudulently obtain unemployment insurance benefits under the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, also known as the CARES Act. According to an affidavit filed with the complaint, Baines possessed and used debit cards preloaded with unemployment benefits administered by the California Employment Development Department, EDD. The debit cards were issued in the names of third parties, including identity theft victims. The applications for these debit cards listed addresses to which Baines had access in Beverly Hills and Koreatown. Evidence gathered during the investigation established that at least 92 debit cards that had been preloaded with more than $1.2 million in fraudulently obtained benefits were mailed to these addresses, according to the affidavit. Baines and his co-schemers allegedly accessed more than 704,000 of these benefits through cash withdrawals, including in Las Vegas, as well as purchases of merchandise and services. I'm curious what services he bought. He was in Las Vegas with stolen money, and it was all from cash withdrawals. Las Vegas, cash, and services means he was probably at least smart enough to get some loving in before heading to jail. If you just received access to $1.2 million from fraudulently stealing other people's identity, what is the last thing you would do? Of course you wouldn't rap about it in a song. Serial killers are known to leave little symbols from their victims as a way to brand the crime. I wonder if Nuke Bizzle was interested in leaving his branding on the crime he committed. Unfortunately, his mark was way too obvious as he created a song titled EDD. Here are snippets from the song with lyrics.
Shut up. I just been swiping for EDD. Go to the bank, get a stack at least. This shit here better than selling peas. I made some rap that I couldn't believe. 10 cars, that 200 bond. I got a shot at the Donald Trump. I just might swipe me a lump sum. I'm in New York having money fun.
Can you imagine an easier court case than this one? It would take Al Pacino or Keanu Reeves from Devil's Advocate to beat the case for Nuke Bizzle. Him and his friends make a song declaring their guilt of stealing money from the government. I think they need more experience in scamming, or they need to get consultation from some of these internet marketing gurus so that they can learn how to not make their scamming so obvious.
Well, no, not the PPP is for when you say, yeah, I think that is. Now, there's some people that are getting money saying that they have a business.
Right.
And they're getting money. Now, there are a lot of people that are well, this particular guy, he actually was using other people's identity. He had like a whole sheet of people's identity, and he's stating that he's out of work and he's receiving money. Unemployment.
Okay.
He got caught, of course,
yeah.
And he's looking at 22 years.
Oh,
this guy's 30. This guy's 31 years old. So he is a prime example of somebody that is obviously not woke. How? So Jen, I want to ask both of you guys, how? When I hear my black people that do this, it makes me feel bad. One, because they're going to jail for a very long time, and two, they expect this from us.
Yeah.
You understand?
Now look at the other side of that, though.
But real quick, and the other side for me is what's his circumstances that he feels like he has to do that?
There you go.
Why is the circumstances so dire?
That's what you were gonna say.
Well, I was gonna say, obviously, he felt a sense of desperation,
Right?
Perhaps to felt that he had to resort to do something like that.
But hold on. One more thing. He wrote a song about it and put it on Instagram. He did a song. And this is a rapper. Like, he is out in the industry.
Right.
And he did a song about it, about how the hell he swindled the federal government. He doesn't think.
Is it a good song?
I done got rich off of EDD. I ain't hit no more liquors of EDD. And just last night I was selling P. And I just woke up to 300 G. Go 60K off of SBA. It's time to ball like the NBA.
On September 23rd, Las Vegas police arrested Baines, who had in his possession 8 debit cards, 7 of which were in the names of other persons, the affidavit states. The criminal complaint alleges 3 felony offenses: access device fraud, aggravated identity theft, and interstate transportation of stolen property. If convicted of all of these charges, Baines would face a statutory maximum sentence of 22 years in federal prison.
It's okay, don't get me wrong, but it's irrelevant now because he's gonna do 22
that's
years.
how they got Bobby Schmurder. I mean, it's a lot of that going around too. You know, that drive snitching on yourself.
You know what they say the FBI stands for, right? Facebook investigation.
Facebook. What?
Why would you get on TV, young man, and get on here and say, this is what I'm doing? You are going to get arrested. So I'm saying, so I think our podcast, Woke by Accident, Motivational Motors, it's for the young people to understand. Please, this is out here. Racism is out here. It's probably going to exist forever. How are you going to combat it?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
You cannot, like we just said offline, there is you can't fight fire with fire. You can fight fire with water, though, and put it out. So you can't fight fire with ignorance. You understand?
Okay.
You can't fight you can't fight racism with ignorance. You understand?
Right.
You know what I mean? I can't fight the oppressor with being just as ignorant as he is. I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? I can do that, but I'm gonna tarnish the legacy of everybody coming after me. You understand? And that's what I think a lot of young people don't understand. The way you act at 20, 25, 30, and 35, rest assured it's going to affect your child, your grandchild, and their children in some shape, form, or fashion. Mm-hmm. It will affect them. You understand?
Yeah.
That's true. What am I supposed to say after that? That's all true. Like, I mean, black and white, it don't matter. People are stupid and people are going to do dumb things and they're going to get caught. And if you do something stupid, then that's what you deserve. I mean, you know, that guy's an idiot.
Right.
So I, you know, it makes no difference to me whether he's black or white. Like, that was dumb. And
well, it makes me a big difference to me.
Because he's a dumb, he's supposed to be representing black people, and
it makes a big difference to me. Absolutely. The fact that I'm not saying, I just in my professional and personal opinion, I just feel like, you know, I mean, when we commit our crimes or when we do dumb things, quote unquote, our stuff is looked at far more extreme than you know, the other cultures. Yeah. You understand? We have to hold ourselves at a higher standard. Forget how they look at us. First and foremost, no. We have to hold ourselves at a higher standard, man. Straight up and down, like Jen and I said. What was he going through?
But that did not justify writing the song about it.
He got $1.2 million. We forgot the $200,000. I'm sorry. $1.2 million from the federal government. And then wrote a song about it. Straight up and down.
You know,
the young man is looking at, huh?
It's a shame maybe that I don't care that he stole that money. I'm just mad that he wrote a song about it. Like, you could have got away with it. Maybe. Okay, maybe not. He probably would have got caught. I mean, but like, why you gotta snitch on yourself?
Yeah. Ignorance by accident.
I mean, I don't know how bad I could be that you stole from the federal government, because they steal from us all the time. So tit for tat, you know, it don't matter. But like, snitch on yourself.
But their crime is legal. If that's an oxymoron, that crime
it's not legal. If they get away,
they can't get arrested for it, so it's legal.
Okay. Yes.
If you can't get arrested for it, it's legal. You understand?
Yeah. No, if you can't get charged for it, because they'll arrest anybody. They'll let them go home.
Charged. Right.
Charged. Right. We took that.
So Jen, so what is your we still on track. What is your fundamental objective with your podcast? I think everyone has an objective when they do these things, because you have other things better to do in your life. What's your objective with it?
I definitely want to reach more people. I feel like I can reach more. I've been trying to do some promotion and collaborations on like some other vehicles like Clubhouse and things like that to try to get more listens and that kind of thing. So I would, like to do more. I would like to, eventually turn it into like an organization and, make some impactful reach to the community. So I feel like I'm going in that direction. It's going to take time, but I'm going in that direction. So.
And where can people find your podcast?
I am on all of the streaming services, such as iHeartRadio and Apple and Spotify and SoundCloud. I'm out there. Woke by accident.
Right. Okay. Now, if let's say a guest wanted to come on your show because they had an interesting topic that's not in the limelight that they wanted to discuss, how would they contact you, or could they contact you?
Oh, yes, that'll be dope. And so I'm out here on Instagram, Jen W314, or my Woke by Accident podcast Instagram handle. I'm on Twitter, and the link is in the bio out there on Instagram. So I definitely would be open to have a conversation with anyone.
Okay. Hey, Jen, we ask everyone this, and you're not exempt. I don't know how old you are, but you look pretty young, so I'm gonna go a little younger. Seriously, what would you tell that 15 to 16-year-old prospective journalist What would you whisper in her ear to make her her life a little smoother? What would you tell her about life that would make your life a little smoother at 15? What would you tell your former 15, 16, 17-year-old self?
Yeah, so I would say that challenges may come up, but stay on the path. You know, there's no shortcuts. You definitely have to walk by faith and not by sight sometimes. And don't give up.
I agree. Touche. All right. So you guys, I want y'all to check Woke by Accident out. It's streamed on, it's on all the streaming outlets. You know what I'm saying? Jen Washington, thank you. I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying?
Welcome. Thank you for having me, guys.
No problem. You know what I mean? We here for each other. You know, you my brethren all day, every day. You understand?
Right on.
All right. So from Portia Mistake and from Woke by Accident, Jen Washington, you got your boy Quan John, baby, 100.